Good morning, girls. We are at home and enjoying family time, right? But we need to study also. So, for you, first topic is crop production and management. So, we all know that all the living organisms like man, animal, and plants need for their growth and survival, right? So we know that green plants can manufacture their food or synthesize their food with the help of some of the inorganic things like carbon dioxide, minerals, water, as well as as well as sunlight. And they prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis, right? So we call them as autotrophs. But there are various living organisms on our earth or on our planet that cannot prepare their food, and those animals are known as heterotrophs. That means they are totally dependent upon plants or autotrophs for their food, right? So when we talk about heterotrophs, we humans are heterotrophs, right? So we are dependent upon plant or animal directly or indirectly for our food, right? So we will talk about some of the terms first. Now, when we talk about terms for this chapter, first term is crop. Okay? Now, what are the crops? When the same kind of plants are grown in the field on a large scale to obtain foods like cereals that is wheat, rice, maize, pulses, vegetables and fruits, etc. It is called as crops. In Hindi, it is known as fasal. Okay? Now, next, some of the examples are for cereal crops, wheat, paddy, maize, millets, barley. Okay? Now, for pulses, examples are gram, groundnut, sunflower. For vegetables, we know that vegetables, tomato, cabbage, spinach, and you can give much more examples for this. Okay? Now, for fruits examples are banana, grapes, guava, mango, orange, apple, and many more, right? Now, when we talk about crops, we know that for every living thing there are certain environmental conditions. Okay? Now, every organisms as well as every plant need a certain environmental condition. Environmental condition means temperature, water condition, etc., right? So depending upon different season of the year in India, crops have been divided into two different categories. First one is kharif crop and second one is rabi crop. Okay, now first we will discuss about kharif crops. When we talk about kharif crops, these are also now known as monsoon crops. That means they are grown between June to October. So as we know, as we are familiar with the term monsoon, right? So this is related to our rainy season. Fine. So these kharif crops are dependent upon the rain. Fine. Now the seeds are sown at the beginning of monsoon season and the crops are harvested at the end of monsoon season. Okay, that means in the beginning of June these crops are sown and at the end of October these crops are harvested. Fine. So these things you need to remember, clearly remember that kharif crops are known as monsoon crops. That means uh, their harvesting as well as sown period is between June to October. Fine. Now, some of the examples of kharif crop that you need to remember and understand that paddy, maize, jowar, bajra, cotton, sugarcane, groundnut, and pulses. Okay, so these plants or crops need water, a specific water condition as well as the environmental condition that is present between June to October. So these are the few examples of kharif crop, and you need to remember these basic differences between rabi and kharif crops. Okay, now let's talk about rabi crop. It is known as winter crops. Winter crops means these as we know that between October to uh, March we have winter season, right? So these crops are grown between October to March. Okay, that means in October they are sown, and at the end of March they are harvested. Now their seeds are sown at the beginning of winter season, and the crop is harvested at the end of winter season or in the spring season. Right? The rabi crops are cultivated in the dry season, so timely irrigation is required to grow the crop. So as we know that there is almost no rain in winter season, so these crops need a timely irrigation. Okay, these plants need manual irrigation time to time. Fine. So some of the examples of rabi crops are wheat, gram, oat, barley, potato. Seeds like mustard, linseed, sunflower, coriander, cumin, etc. Fine. So these are the basic thing that you need to remember and understand about these two types of crops that are basically grown in India. Okay, that is kharif and rabi crops. So I need you to remember these basic things. Okay, now come to the next topic. Oh, I have one question for you. Fine. So you need to write the differences between Rabi and Kharif crop. So in your notebook, you will write the difference between Rabi and Kharif crop, at least 4 differences. Okay, so that you every concept should be clear in your mind. Okay, fine. Next. So our next topic will be the basic practices of crop production. So what are the things that are needed for crop production? So you must have seen somewhere in the field or some videos or some films that how farmers work so hard in their field. Okay, so what are the things they need to do in their field so that they can get a proper crop production? So there are basic steps for the crop production. Okay, for basic practices for crop production. So the first thing is preparation of soil. How soil is prepared, how soil is managed in their field. Second thing is sowing of the seeds, adding manure or fertilizers, irrigation, removal of weeds, harvesting, storage of food grains. So first thing we will talk about preparation of soil. How soil is prepared and why soil need to be prepared. So first we will learn about importance of soil for the crops. So what are the importance of soil for the crops? First thing is plants are sown and grown, provide water, mineral, air, humus, etc. Third thing, it provides anchorage to the roots of the plant so that they can stand still. Okay, so these are the basic things and basic and important things that we need to remember, that soil need to be prepared so that it can provide the basic things to the plant root. Okay, next thing, how soil is prepared. Soil is prepared by plugging, leveling and manuring. Plugging. So you know what is plugging, right? So in this template you can see that there are two images. In one image, bullock cart is being used by the farmers, okay? And in the second video, tractor is being used for the process of plugging. So basically what is happening here? So they are preparing their soil by the process of plugging, okay, so that the soil can be prepared for the proper anchorage of the plants. Next thing, What is plugging? When we talk about plugging, what is plugging? The process of loosening and turning the soil is called plugging. Okay, now it is done by plug made up of wood or iron, and they have iron tip for easy penetration in the soil. Next thing, plugging is beneficial because of following reason. Okay, so what is the importance of plugging? Loosening of the soil can improve air circulation. The roots can penetrate deeper into the soil, thus holding the plant firmly. It enhances the water retention capacity of the soil, and plugging uproots the weed growing in the field and aid in the growth of microbes. So these are the basic importance of this process. Okay, so soil need to be prepared. Fine. So for this, for today, this is uh, these are your topics, and you need to remember this. You need to clear your concept, because these topics are easy. Okay, so for now, thank you and have a nice day.